Hello and greetings everyone, Darth Cold is here with another video, this time about a top 10 list of Sith Lords. Now, first of all, know I said that I don't like to do top 10s and tier lists and stuff like that. I was asked to do that, I will, I guess, and I feel confident enough that I don't think that there's much new stuff coming from Disney that makes me change my mind, and the characters I present are done, and I know the stories, and I know enough about the Sith and the Sith Lords that I feel confident to put out this list without it really changing much. If you have compelling arguments, please put them in the comments. I might reconsider, though I think I'm pretty confident with the list as I made it so far. Now, for those people that only know Star Wars from the movies and the TV shows, probably haven't heard about any of those, which is a great opportunity for you to dive deeper into the lore and the characters, because I think there's so many really cool ones. Now, I will do the top 10 from bottom up, and you might be surprised who I'll end up with at number 1, because I can tell you right away that neither Vader nor Palpatine are in my top 10. And you may ask, but why? Well, that's why I explain this top 10 tier list a little bit with background info. And I know George Lucas said that Palpatine is the most powerful Sith Lord to ever exist, but George Lucas also said that Vader is more powerful than Palpatine. So was Vader not a Sith Lord then, or how does that work? And he also said that Luke is the most powerful character in Star Wars ever, which also contradicts the statements about Palpatine, I suppose, unless he really just meant most powerful Sith Lord, and yeah, whatever. And then he showed us what Palpatine can do with Force Storms, and Luke was nowhere near that ability at all in the slightest. So apparently George has a different idea about power and what power even means, because Palpatine ruled the galaxy and was able to annihilate entire fleets just like that. Luke couldn't do either of that at all, and yet he's supposed to be more powerful. Whatever, I don't want to get into that rant. The thing that I want to say is that there is characters in Star Wars that are said by George to be the most powerful, but clearly are not once you do a deeper dive into this. Now, I don't want to say that Palpatine isn't powerful. He's probably my number 11, because he is really powerful, but not compared to other characters that I want to present here. Now, so I don't mess up my own list, I did do a little bit of script. Number 10, Plagueis. Yes, Darth Plagueis is probably a lot more powerful than Palpatine ever was. How do we know that? Well, first of all, it wasn't Palpatine who set up the Clone Wars and the Separatists and Dooku as the leader of the Separatist army, or having Grievous and Maul there and stuff. That was all already set up by Plagueis, not by Palpatine. Plagueis was already setting up the Republic for failure, and while Plagueis set everything up, it was Palpatine who executed that, but Plagueis was the one making that even possible. It was Plagueis getting so much money that the whole clone army financing and the droid army financing even worked. It was Plagueis who did all the nice little behind the scenes things, and it was Plagueis who was super powerful with the Force. It was Plagueis who discovered the midichlorians. It was Plagueis that was this close to achieving true immortality. It was Plagueis who almost figured out to revive dead people in a great and actually alive way, not as zombies. It was Plagueis who knew all the dark Sith sorcery rituals and all the super cool Force powers, and he didn't teach Palpatine everything that he knew either. And the thing why I think Palpatine is inferior to Plagueis is simply that Palpatine didn't feel confident challenging Plagueis to a fair one-on-one duel. He first of all got Plagueis drugged and drunk, and killed Plagueis while he was asleep. Does that shout, "I'm superior in power" to you? No, not to me. If you have to kill someone who's drugged and drunk in their sleep because you don't think you can take them on in a one-on-one, I think that makes the other person more powerful than you are. So Palpatine cheated his way into becoming the Dark Lord of the Sith. I think he doesn't deserve the title at all, but that's a different topic. Anyway, I think Plagueis really is more powerful than Palpatine. Otherwise, I don't see why Palpatine would have resort to such tactics, and how Plagueis set up the finances, the politics, and everything, and Palpatine just had to roll with it to get to the success that he got to. And it was the Force created Anakin to respond to Plagueis, not to respond to Palpatine. So if the Force itself said, "Oh, Plagueis is so fucking powerful, I have to stop him," I think that puts Plagueis solidly above Palpatine in power levels. Now, for that said, that's my number 10. So who's number 9? And I have to take a quick look. I want to make sure to not mess this up. Darth Bane. Now, Darth Bane is the original Sith Chud. Like, he is probably one of the most badass characters written for Star Wars. The dude had a terrible life. You can go look that up yourself. His short version: his mother died during his birth. He was abused by his dad. He was growing up as a basically kinda, not really, but sorta slave on a mining planet. He had a terrible upbringing with lots of hunger and problems and issues, and he managed through his own greatness basically to escape, and led one of the most badass Sith Trooper platoon groups, whatever, and was so good at what he did militarily that the Sith recognized him, gave him an apprenticeship, and he was so good that he became one of the most powerful Sith of his time, and he managed to wipe out basically the Sith Order and many Jedi along with them, and then he started the whole Rule of Two thing. The dude was a very, very powerful combatant, defeating many of the best duelists of his time in a 1v1. He was also very well versed in war. He was definitely the warrior, and he was also very smart. He figured out not Sith sorcery, but many ancient Sith powers like Force powers. He got a lot into philosophy. He learned a lot from ancient holocrons. He created the Rule of Two, well, reinterpreted the Rule of Two that Revan had. He started this whole new era of Sith kind of thing. He found one of the best apprentices that you can possibly find, and he was just really, really smart. On top of that, he was physically super strong. I guess a life of being a miner makes you that. And he was so mentally resilient that he was, I think, the only person known in the galaxy who ever used Orbalisk armor, because Orbalisk armor is actually parasites that you attach to your skin that eat you alive, but their shells that they have are basically impenetrable by anything. Lightsabers can't get through, blasters can't get through. You're basically putting on 24/7 full body knight armor made of parasites that eat your life, which causes you a lot of pain that you have to endure. But Bane, being Bane, used that pain and turned into rage and anger, because being Sith cool and stuff like that, and used that as a power source. So the torment that he had suffered was actually one of his strengths. That is why I call him the Sith Chud, because this dude was really a powerhouse. He was insanely strong. He was nearly unkillable. He was one of the best duelists of his time. He was powerful with the Force. He could do the Force Crush. He killed, I think, I'm not sure if he killed a Great Dragon or just a Rancor, but he could use the Force to basically crush your heart from a distance. He was really scary. Very powerful dude. That's my number 9. So my number 8 I don't have to look up, because that's his pupil, Darth Sanar. Why do I put her above him? Well, 2 reasons really. First of all, she was very talented and capable of Sith sorcery. Oh, I forgot. Bane was of the conviction that if you have any Force powers, you can theoretically copy-paste the Sith sorcery stuff and make that happen with just the Force. It's a different approach, but that the Force itself is unlimited, and he managed to copy Darth Sanar's dark tentacle sorcery with just the Force, which makes Bane super awesome because he basically learns Sith sorcery without using Sith sorcery. Sana, however, was the true master of Sith sorcery. Now, she was nowhere near the mastery of Sith sorcery of the ancient Sith, but she was definitely the most powerful user, the most versed user of Sith sorcery in the entire Baneite era. So from Darth Bane to Palpatine, she was the GOAT in regard to Sith sorcery. She was super smart. She was so good at what she did that she walked amongst Jedi, walked into Jedi temples, stole Jedi artifacts from Jedi temples, just like that, wasn't noticed, had no issues whatsoever, and she killed Bane in a fair 1v1. So I think that alone makes her super badass and puts her above him. She also resisted his attempt to essence transfer and override her personality. So she resisted Darth Bane's probably most powerful power that he had, that she didn't even know he had, and just like that she did win that fight. So I think she is really a bit more powerful than Darth Bane, and she is the Sith sorcery user of the Baneite era. Now, with that said, let's move on to number 7, Exar Kun. Now, Exar Kun is, if you don't know who he is probably one of the best duelist in all of Star Wars. That's at least the reputation that he has. Now, Exar Kun is kind of the inventor of the saber staff. You see him on the picture right there, and he was said to be the most powerful duelist of his time, which already had some of the most powerful duelists in all of Star Wars in it. And he was a prodigy Jedi who then went dark side, like so many of these fellows do, and he became one of the most legendary Sith to ever exist. He was so badass that it took 1,000 Jedi Masters, we are not talking Padawans, 1,000 Jedi Masters coming at him at the same time just to imprison him. Not to kill him or end him or remove him from existence, just to imprison him. Let that sink in. And you know what he did? He killed all 1,000 of them. He was still imprisoned though, but he managed to kill all 1,000 of them. And he was later freed by Luke, and freed, he was a Force ghost at this point, but when he was released by Luke, he gave Luke, the apparently most powerful creature ever in Star Wars, until Rey comes along, I guess, and he gave Luke the chills, sorry. So yeah, Exar Kun is insanely powerful, and he's not only super powerful in terms of lightsaber combat, he is also at least at the level of Sana in terms of Sith sorcery, if not above her. So that's why I put him above her in the ranking. Now, next is Darth Sion. Now, Darth Sion is a controversial figure because many people say, oh, Darth Sion isn't all that powerful, and I sort of agree. He is definitely not the best lightsaber combatant out there. He is, I don't even know if he knows any Sith sorcery or if he can even use that, and he doesn't appear to be all that powerful with the Force. He is not that much above normal Sith of his era in regards of Force powers. So why is he on my list on this spot, which is number 6? Now, the thing with Darth Sion is that he is literally immortal. He has God mode activated. You cannot kill this dude. Now, he is defeated canonically by Mitra Surik, but the only way she could defeat him is, 1, he was in love with her, and 2, she convinced him to end himself for good. That's how he was defeated, because a woman that he loved told him to end himself, basically. Well, it's more complicated than that, but this was literally the only person in the entire friggin' universe that could kill Sion. Sion was so driven by the dark side that he could not die. He was killed with blasters, with lightsabers, with Force powers. He was killed by Nihilus and stuff like that, and he never stayed dead. He just instantly came back. you can't get rid of this guy. He is straight out of a horror movie. He is literally immortal. No matter what you do, doesn't affect him. They even disintegrated his body, and the Force made his atoms reassemble and recreate him. So this dude was absolutely unkillable, and that's why I put him on place number 6, because he is literally immortal. He is the walking plot armor. He is unkillable by anyone else. Even the ones further up in the list couldn't kill Sion. So it was only a matter of time. He's basically the Dark Souls character in Star Wars. He just comes back and tries again, and someday he'll get lucky. Him winning against you, him defeating the others, is not a matter of if, it's a matter of how many tries does it take, because sooner or later he will succeed. And that's why I put him on this list and why I put him at place number 6. While he's not astonishingly powerful or anything like that, he's like the Dark Souls character. He will just keep going and coming back until he succeeds, which makes him inevitable, which makes him basically an unstoppable force. I'd actually like to put him higher on the list, but again, he's not that powerful per se. His one stick is that he can't die, and that's what gives him incredible power and makes him into probably the most dangerous Sith of all time. Probably. But again, that's on a person scale, because the others are more on a planetary scale or even galactic scale dangerous. Which brings me to the next one, who is Naga Sadow. Now, if you don't know who Sadow is, he is one of the best known ancient Sith. He attempted to rule the Sith Empire, and he was one of the two big rivals that tried to get the Sith Empire under their control after Horde died. Now, Naga Sadow was the, I think, unquestioned master of Sith sorcery. Pretty much everyone else learned Sith sorcery from this guy. May it be through direct teaching, through holocrons, or other things. He taught basically every single, well, not every single, but almost every other student of Sith sorcery. May it be through holocrons or other means. He was so well versed in Sith alchemy that he managed to do what Plagueis tried to do. He was capable of bringing people back to life. He was able to create life. He was capable of creating all kinds of weird monsters that shouldn't exist. He was able to twist life into all forms that he wanted. Many of Star Wars' weirdest creatures that you may know are actually a science project of Sadow. He controlled multiple star systems, had multiple hidden bases with all kinds of cool stuff in there. He created some of the most powerful Sith artifacts in existence. He was basically almost a god in the regard of how he toyed with life forms and life itself. Now, he was still mortal. He was still being defeated at the end, and that's why I can't put him higher on the list, but he is really way beyond. He's basically what Plagueis tried to be. That's Naga Sadow in a nutshell. Now, the next on my list is Marka Ragnas. Now, Marka Ragnas is probably the best all-rounder Sith of all time. He was quite powerful with Sith sorcery. He was very well versed in Sith alchemy. He was a great lightsaber combatant, and he was super strong with the Force. He was the other rival that tried to get the Sith Empire under his control when Horde died, and he actually succeeded and became the new leader of the Sith, sort of, until the Jedi kinda removed the Empire from existence, because the war between those two weakened the Sith so much that the Jedi could just deal with the remains, basically. But Marka Ragnas is one of the best known Sith in history. He has influenced so many later characters. In his tomb on Korriban, his Force ghost survived and influenced so many later ones. Non-canonically, one of the alternate timelines is that he even was freed by Jaden Korr and killed Luke Skywalker. So yeah, Marka Ragnas is definitely up there, and the fact that he survived for thousands of years as a Force ghost puts him, I think, a little bit above Sadow. Otherwise, the two would have been pretty much equal. Now, the next on my list is actually Tenebrae / Vitiate / what was the final Lord? Valkorion, right? Because this is the OG Sith Emperor. Like, this dude's story is insane. He ruled most of the galaxy for about 1000 years. He was one of the ancient Sith, back then known as Tenebrae. He learned from the biggest and baddest Sith in all of existence. He was already exceptionally powerful and strong, and actually getting to get official titles at age 13. And he only went up from there. He ruled his own planet at age 13. He was very powerful with the Force. He got taught great Sith sorcery rituals. He was skilled with Sith alchemy, and he knew essence transfer, which is I'm not sure if he created the essence transfer ritual, or if he's just the most prominent user of it. But this dude switched bodies like other people switched their undergarments. Like this dude, if you kill him, you just then next body, next body, next body. He switched canonically at least 4 times, though it's open how many times he actually did that. He also was able to split up his consciousness into different bodies at the same time, allowing him to rule 2 empires at the same time, basically. This dude, by the way, he didn't only create 1 empire, he created 2 empires, and was so insanely powerful that the Sith Empire and the Galactic Republic, that the Sith Order and the Jedi Order teamed up to stop him. And they almost failed, by the way. He was so bad that Revan willed himself back to life to kill him. This dude was so powerful that he made Malak and Revan his B-word. You get the idea. Revan and Malak waltzed in, hell-bent on killing Valkorion. He was just like, you guys, you two, you serve me now. Yes, master. That's what he did. He was that powerful that he could have well-trained prodigy Jedi who became super powerful Sith Lords that also created their own empire for 300 years, I think it was, and just walk in and say, you serve me now, and they did. He was so powerful that he was the absolutely unquestioned ruler of his era, which I think only 2, maybe 3 Sith Lords ever managed to do. Like, Palpatine wasn't really challenged. He was challenged a little bit by Vader. If you go for the expanded universe, he was challenged by Vader, but never direct. Like Vader still prepared to overthrow Palpatine. He died before before his plans would bear fruit. Then it was Tulak Hord, who is further up on the list, and you have Valkorion, who was so powerful that none of the Sith Council even tried to challenge him. They were all, yes sir, you are the big boss, we don't even try to overthrow you. He was basically unquestioned ruler for over 1000 years. So this dude, super powerful. His maybe best known move is that he could suck out the life force of entire planets and add to his own. That's what he did, I think, twice in canon. What Palpatine needed a Death Star to do, this guy just did with a ritual from orbit. So he didn't need a Death Star. He could unalive entire planets from orbit like that, making him, in my opinion, way more powerful than anyone so far on the list. Now, if that's number 3, this god of the dark side, who exactly would be on number 2? Well, that's Tulak Hord. And you might say, Tulak Hord, who the hell is that? Yeah, some people may never have heard of him because I think he was very briefly mentioned in, was it Clone Wars or Rebels? I'm not sure. He was very shortly mentioned there, which technically speaking makes him canon, even under Disney's standards. But Tulak Hord was probably the most badass fighter in all of Star Wars. He is well known for having killed over 1000 Jedi and over 1000 Sith in his life. He was so badass at fighting that no one dare to challenge him, similar to what we have with Valkorion, just that the Sith of his time were more badass than the Sith Lords of Valkorion's time. Even Naga Sadow and Marka Ragnos waited until Horde died before they would even dare try to rule over the Sith. He was the unchallenged badass. Nobody wanted to fight him. Nobody wanted to face him. He wore insanely cool armor with an insanely powerful blade. He was one of the OG Sith rulers, Sith lords of the ancient Sith. I don't know how powerful he exactly was with Sith sorcery or with Sith alchemy, though I think he created at least one pretty cool artifact, but he was the pretty much undefeated lightsaber user of his time, and he was so powerful that nobody could deal with him, not even Jedi Grandmasters. He was so powerful that everything who dared to face him was dead within seconds, in a universe where duels usually last minutes to even hours. So this dude was just a force of nature, really. That guy was so badass that everyone accepted his rule for a long time too. He was just super badass. And that brings me to my number one. Now, who might that be? Well, we've spoken about forces of nature, and that should be enough of a hint for the fans out there to get what my number one pick is, and that's Darth Nihilus. And I already hear the people screaming, well, Darth Nihilus was defeated by Mitra Surik, so he can't be that powerful, and he was shit with a lightsaber, and yeah, all of that. You have to consider the context here, because Darth Nihilus, while he was defeated by Mitra Surik, it was just like with Darth Sion, that was a pure plot armor move of Mitra Surik, because the only reason Mitra Surik could even survive being in his presence was because she was a wound in the Force herself, and Darth Nihilus defeats his enemies by sucking out the life force out of them. Now, Mitra Surik didn't have life force to be sucked out, so he didn't even notice her presence until it was a little bit too late, and she was already in lightsaber range, and even then it was a tough fight, but he ultimately lost that. But again, the only person in the entire history of Star Wars that could have defeated Nihilus was Mitra Surik, and she did because plot. But that's literally the only person in all of Star Wars. That includes Palpatine, Vader, Valkorion, Horde, whatever. All of those people could not have defeated Nihilus, because he would just have stood there and said, yummy, yummy, yummy. Would just have eaten the life force. He was capable of unaliving entire planets from orbit, even more so than Valkorion, because Valkorion needed a little Sith sorcery ritual to do that. Nihilus was literally just nom, 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 nom. And that's how he unalived the entire planet. He just had to be in orbit. He just had to say, oh, let's use my absolute mastery of life drain and drain the entire life of the entire planet like that. That's how he, like, if you think what Valkorion did was insane, Nihilus was even more powerful than that, and he could do that at will. He could do that to a single person, he could do that on a planetary scale, doesn't matter, he could just do that. He was insanely destructible, and the reason why I put him at number one is that literally no one on this list could have defeated him, because the moment he is aware that you are there, he can end you as he pleases. If he wants you dead, you are dead. Mitra, his pupil survived because he didn't want to kill her, and even she was badly damaged by being in his presence. But he could control it enough that he didn't have to kill everything in his direct vicinity. But there's a reason why he had an entire deck of a ship all to himself that nobody ever entered, because just being in his presence made you sick and feel bad and suck out a little bit of your life force. When he spoke, that was torment. That was his voice alone was sucking out life force from you. Not all of it, you'd survive, but you'd still be weakened and sick after that. And if he wanted you dead, he didn't even need to look at you. If he was aware of your presence in the Force, and he could do that apparently from at least a light year away, you were dead. Just like that, life force sucked out, bloop, dead, drop dead. And some people say that he was shit at lightsaber combat. Well, why would he have to be powerful in lightsaber combat and a great duelist if he can just do that? Yeah. I don't think you can defeat that. Again, the only reason Mitra Surik was able to defeat him was because he couldn't feel a presence, because he didn't have one. So that's why he couldn't use his badass move of drain life on her, which is why she survived. And he had to fight her in an actual duel, which he was bad at because he never trained it, because why would he have to do that if he can just end you like that? So that's Nihilus for you in a nutshell, and that's why I put him at number 1, because again, no one else on the list could defeat Nihilus, and he would just end planets like that. And he was even said that if he hadn't been stopped by Mitra Surik, and if he had killed Mitra Surik, he would have ended up devoured the entire universe. Not just the galaxy, the universe. He wasn't exactly the dark side incarnated, but he kind of was the avatar of the dark side itself. Like, not on the levels of Nakash and others, but he was so powerful with the dark side that he was basically able to end the Yuzhang Wong and end the universe with just slurping all the life out of it. That's why I put him at number 1. Now, is he the number 1 most powerful being in Star Wars? Nope. He is the most powerful Sith in Star Wars. If you know the Sorcerers of Thunt, there is even people like Darkseid using people that are more powerful than Nihilus with the Sorcerers of Thunt, which I might do a different video on. You have well, okay, the Night Sisters are not more powerful than Nihilus, but some Night Sisters are definitely up there with the most powerful Sith. And you have other orders of Force users that can rival the Sith powers or even surpass them. And you definitely have beings like the Mortis Gods or the Ancient Celestials, probably even many Rakata that surpass the Sith in terms of power. And if you go in most powerful being ever, on the dark side, probably Nakash, because that guy created the dark side. He is literally the god of the dark side, of which there also exist a few, like the Sith worship gods, the ancient Sith gods, and all of them used to be Celestials or similarly powered creatures like the Bedlam spirits on that scale. So the Sith gods are all more powerful than any Sith ever was, because they weren't people or mortal beings to begin with. They are forces of nature from the start. So, and their command of the Force was insane. And in terms of Nakash, he didn't even use the Force. He used something even more powerful than the Force. So that's completely different power levels, but I think that will do for my top 10 list. Already going on long enough, so I wish you a fantastic day, and may the Force be with you.